Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new Pokemon in the world of Pokemon Go, Heliolisk. This Pokemon was just released today with the brand new Power Plant event, and you can get it by catching Helioptile in the wild and evolving it using a Sunstone. Heliolisk does have a very unique typing. It's an electric and normal type, and for the moveset, it's running Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, and Grass Knot. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's take a look at Heliolisk in action in the Great League to see if it is worth the investment. Hopping to the first match, leading Heliolisk into a Sableye. This should be a pretty decent matchup for us. Thanks to that normal subtyping, we are of course double resisting the Shadow Claws. This should just be the foul play. We let it go. That foul play actually does absolutely massive damage. Heliolisk is incredibly glassy. We get the shield with the Thunderbolt. The opponent tries to snipe with Medicham. We're able to survive on very low HP, and now we bring in Jellicent. This is a fantastic position to be in, as we can very easily tank a Psychic, whereas they can definitely not tank a Shadow Ball from this health range. We overfarm quite significantly, and we're going for the Shadow Ball. I'm expecting the no shield, but the opponent actually decides to go down 2 shields, which was a little bit of a surprise to me. I am going to commit the shield on the Psychic, and then we should be in a pretty decent spot where we can overfarm quite a lot, and then go for the Shadow Ball to take them out. And so now whatever they bring in, we should have a decent amount of energy, and their final Pokemon is Bastiodon. So we should be in a pretty good position here. I go for the Shadow Ball to do some nice chip damage. Can we get to another move? We are able to get to the Bubble Beam. So we will be able to debuff them as well. So we should be in a pretty nice spot. They bring in Sableye to farm down. I bring in Heliolisk, and they throw right in the middle. I'm pretty sure that I can shield this, under tap, and get to the Thunderbolt, which we are able to do. Thunderbolt will be taking them out, and from here, we have Medicham for the Bastiodon. The opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Hopping to the next match, leading Heliolisk into Skarmory, a very nice lead. The opponent save switches into Vigoroth, and I actually counter swap into Jellicent. Medicham is the hard counter, but I am expecting that they very well could be double weak to counter in the back, and if so, I want to preserve my Medicham for the end game. The opponent was actually expecting me to shield the first one, so they end up baiting with the Body Slam, but I do call it, and now we're going to be able to start bubble beaming them and just lowering their attack to basically nothing. This is going to be a very, very long mid game here, as their fast moves are double resisted and so are mine, and I'm stuck going for bubble beams. Shadow Ball will do more, so I can use a Shadow Ball to KO in the end, but for now, I want to lower their attack as much as possible. We should survive another Bulldoze here. It will get us into the red, but we do pretty comfortably survive it. And now I am going to overfarm. We're at the back-to-back Bubble Beams, and a Bubble Beam plus Shadow Ball should be enough to KO here. So we are going for the Bubble Beam, and we're able to get to the Shadow Ball. That's perfect. Now, hopefully they think it's just a Bubble Beam and they let it go, which they do. That is absolutely perfect. And if the Skarmory comes back in, we should be able to reach the Bubble Beam here, but unfortunately we lag. Oh no! And we lose the Bubble Beam. That's absolutely terrible, as that would have meant that the Sky Attack did less damage, whereas now the Sky Attack does extra damage. They bring in Scrafty and we bring in Medicham. So this game is far from over. Losing out on that Bubble Beam definitely hurts, as now our Heliolisk is lower than we might want it. I am over-farming a decent amount with the Medicham, and we are going to be going for the Ice Punch. Ice Punch will not KO here, but should get it into a nice farm down range. I am going to have to commit the shield, and my switch timer is not up yet, which is a little difficult, because, unfortunately, the Skarmory doesn't have to shield the first Ice Punch since they're very healthy, and they presumably know that Thunderbolt is going to be doing the most damage here. So they do let the first Ice Punch go. These Air Slashes are doing quite a bit of damage as well, and I am going to be going for the Ice Punch. Ice Punch does get the shield. We bring in the Heliolisk, and we are trying to get to the back-to-back Thunderbolts. Unfortunately, we're not quite able to get there. The question is, can we survive long enough to get to one more Thunderbolt? We're not able to. Heliolisk, so glassy, goes down, and unfortunately, they do have the back-to-back moves here, and they are going to be able to take me out. Quite unfortunate that we did lose that Bubble Beam in the mid-game, as I believe that may have been enough to flip the match in our favor. Picking up the dream lead in the next match in Noctowl. The opponent save switches into Kofagrigus, and so far this team appears to be core broken by Heliolisk's very unique typing. We're able to land a Thunderbolt, which is very nice, and here I'm more than willing to shield once and farm down, just because Heliolisk is so glassy. We're able to farm down, which is great. They bring in Galarian Stunfisk. I'm going to bank a decent amount of energy and save switch into the Jellicent. The goal here with the Jellicent save switch is to bait back out the Noctowl so then I can kill it with Heliolisk, and then I will have the Medicham to clean up the Galarian Stunfisk in the end game. They are going for the Earthquake. They are 1x debuffed. We easily survive that. Back in comes Noctowl. At this point, I'm stuck throwing Bubble Beams. Bubble Beams will do basically no damage to the very bulky Noctowl, but on the bright side, any damage is good damage. So we are going to let this go. They actually go for the Sky Attack, so that way they can get some extra farm, which is a pretty nice play. But unfortunately, Heliolisk absolutely walls Noctowl's standard moveset of Sky Attack and Shadow Ball. We bring back in Heliolisk, going for the Volt Switch, and now going for the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt will be doing massive damage. The opponent does decide to shield up. They try and catch onto the Galarian Stunfisk, but we're able to read it, and we bring in Medicham. Medicham will be able to tank any one move, so we do tank an Earthquake. The unfortunate thing here is a second Earthquake would be taking us out, so I am going to throw the Ice Punch to see if we can force them to go down or force the final shield. They throw. At this point, I am more than willing to let this go. It is just the Rock Slide, which is very nice. And then back in comes Noctowl. We're able to reach the Ice Punch. They don't have to shield this as they would survive it, so I'm expecting the no shield, but they do end up shielding. We can bring in Heliolisk, and we got the Volt Switch through. We can safely tank whatever they throw here. Sky Attack, we survive it. We're able to undertap. We reach the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt will be taking out the Noctowl, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Heliolisk into Galvantula. This is absolutely terrible for me, and honestly, I kind of have to stay in. I can't have Jellicent go up against this, and since Heliolisk has some pretty expensive charge moves, we actually get outpaced. And look how much damage that lunge does. That lunge almost KOs. Heliolisk is so incredibly glassy. We bring in Medicham to try and farm down, they bank a move for later, and they bring in Azumarill. The fact that they're switching Azumarill into the Medicham tells me that it's highly likely that they are in fact running Play Rough, which makes this a very poor matchup for Medicham. Play Rough does not KO, but it will get me into a farm down range. I let it go, and the Play Rough lands. I didn't really see a point in shielding in a very negative matchup, especially with Galvantula having energy. I want to try and preserve shields if at all possible. The opponent commits the shield, and they are able to farm down before I reach another Psychic. This Azumarill is absolutely loaded on energy. I can survive one, so I am going to let that go, but they're going to be able to reach a second one fairly shortly, and this I will have to start shielding. I will overfarm as much as possible because I do want to try and have energy for whatever the final Pokemon is. So we will overfarm as much as I dare, and then we're going for the Shadow Ball to guarantee the KO. We know Galvantula still has a move loaded in the back, so they could very easily take that last shield from me if they switch in, which they do. This is going to be the discharge. I am going to shield this up. Then hopefully we can Hex down, but they actually switch, and the final Pokemon is Walrein. This is very unfortunate as we are definitely in a range where a Shadow Earthquake will kill. Our only chance is to try and catch. We switch, and we're able to catch onto Heliolisk. Okay, maybe there is a chance. They go for the Earthquake. We bring back in Jellicent. Does a Shadow Ball KO a Shadow Walrein? We desperately needed to. It gets it very low. Can we farm down? And we're not able to. They reach an Icicle Spear, and this will just about be taking us out. My only win con is to blind throw the Bubble Beam and hope that they swapped into Galv, which they did not. And unfortunately, we lose a very close game. Hopping to the next match, leading Heliolisk into Mandibuzz. This should be a pretty positive lead, but as with most things with Heliolisk, the question is, can it tank a charge move? We'll have to see how much the Foul Play does. Foul Play does well over half. Again, it cannot be understated how glassy Heliolisk is. We are going to be able to fire back with the Thunderbolt and get the shield. The nice thing here is, well, we could tank one. although not very well. They're not going to be able to tank a Thunderbolt from this range. So I am going to overfarm as much as I dare, and we are going to be going for another Thunderbolt, hoping they decide to let it go, but they do commit the shield, and we sneak the Volt Switch through. I'm very worried about them trying to snipe, so I'm actually going to switch into Medicham, and we actually do a simultaneous swap Medicham into Registeel. This is honestly not ideal. Had I seen the Registeel swap, then I definitely would have brought in Jellicent, but we still do have a pretty okay matchup here, and I believe we have a Grass Knot banked on Heliolisk. We are going to be going for the Psychic. Psychic does get them low. They're very close to another Flash Cannon. I did not want to take the damage, so we're going to go for the Ice Punch to guarantee the KO. We're able to take them out. Back in comes Mandibuzz. We should survive any one move here, I believe, if they are going to be throwing that foul play, which they do. We do survive it, and we're able to reach the Ice Punch. That's very nice. That will be taking them out, and the question is, what is that final Pokemon in the back? It is Azumarill, and we should be in a good spot. We do have the Grass Knot loaded on our Heliolisk. Heliolisk is going to be doing some big damage onto the Azumarill, and we're going to bring in Jellicent, and at this health range, we are going to be able to comfortably take this match. They go for the play rough. That doesn't do nearly enough. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Unfortunately, we pick up another Galvantula lead in the next match. They reach a lunge. I saw how this played out last time. A lunge is almost going to one-shot me, so I definitely want to commit the shield this time. We are going for the Thunderbolt. All charge moves are resisted, but the Thunderbolt does some solid damage. They reach the second lunge, but we're able to catch it onto Jellicent. This is a calculated gamble. I'm hoping we can Hex down before they reach another move. Come on, this is going to be really close. Yes, we're able to Hex down. The opponent brings in Galarian Stunfisk, and I'm thinking that we may have a chance here despite this terrible lead. We got rid of Galvantula, and we have Medicham in the back, which has a very nice Galarian Stunfisk matchup. We are going to be going for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball, able to land, that does some solid damage. They're in a move, even debuffed, an Earthquake would KO here, and then I have to trust in Medicham to try and close out the match. We bring in Medicham, the final Pokemon is Toxicroak, and this is a little scary. Due to Heliolisk's normal subtyping, I would be taking super effective damage, so I don't really feel like I can switch out. We do successfully bait with the Ice Punch, and now I have a tough decision to make. I call it, and they go for the Sludge Bomb. I am going to try and guarantee the shield with the Psychic, but unfortunately we lose CMP, and now things are looking dire, as I have let the Medicham get very low, and at this point, they're probably going to let this go and save the shield for G-Fisk. This is going to be tough. I'm going to try and do a CMP sack right here on the Rock Slide, so we switch into Heliolisk, we throw the Grass Knot, it gets the shield, and it's CMP. This should be the Rock Slide. The question is, can we reach another Grass Knot before we get farmed down? This is going to be very close, and we're not able to. And unfortunately, they are able to reach a Rock Slide. So, tried my best to play out of a very tough lead for the team. Unfortunately, just fell short. And hopping to the final match, leading Heliolisk into Frostlass. We definitely want to keep this away from Medicham at all costs. So honestly, seeing it on the lead, not too bad. I do need to shield up the Avalanche, as I'm quite positive that would be taking me out. I am going to overfarm slightly, and then we're going to be going for the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt would be doing more than enough to take out Frostlass if they decide to let it go, which they do, which very much surprises me. And then they bring in Charm Alolan Ninetales, another big problem spot for the team. We go for the Thunderbolt, and they let the Thunderbolt through. Oh my goodness, this may actually work out, as we can just Hex down here. We can safely tank a Psyshock, not worried about that. And then whatever they have in the back, we can just debuff them. The final Pokemon is Skarmory. So this is very tough, as they have 3 very good responses to Medicham. I'm able to debuff, which is very nice. I overfarm, they shielded the first debuff, now I'm going for the Shadow Ball, hoping for the no shield. They do commit the shield, and this is where things get dangerous. In comes Medicham, we're able to reach an Ice Punch. Ice Punch is not going to be doing nearly enough damage, and they're very close to 2 Sky Attacks. One Brave Bird would basically be taking me out here. I decide to call it just the Sky Attack. We're okay. They reach Sky Attack number 2. This, I do have to shield. I thought about no shielding, but I absolutely have to. They bring in the Ninetales. Can we farm down? Yes, we're able to farm down. And we leave with the Ice Punch loaded. The question is this Ice Punch going to be doing enough to take out the Skarmory? It is not. Skarmory able to farm down. Now, can we reach the Bubble Beam on Jellicent? Are we able to get there? Yes, we are. Jellicent able to reach the Bubble Beam on very low HP. that takes out the Skarmory, and that is a good game. So all in all, some final thoughts after using Heliolisk. This Pokemon is extremely glassy, basically to the point where it doesn't really have a lot of utility. It does have a very unique typing, and as we saw in the game where the opponent was running a Flyer and a Ghost on the same team, it was able to be a Core Breaker in some unique situations, but I really feel like its expensive charge moves, it takes 16 turns to get to the first charge move, and combined with the fact that it is very glassy, even with optimal PvP IVs, this is definitely one that you can go without building for the Great League. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And we have finally released merch. It is based off writing on the wall. We'll have the design on screen and a link to our merch store in the description. Definitely go check it out, as we've got some really cool stuff in there. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.